We're in for a bit of a longer one today. Welcome everyone to France for F1 My Team Career Part, what is this, 6, 7? I honestly don't even know at this point. I think it's 6. Might even be 5 now that I think of it, but I'm clueless. What do I know? So, coming off of a great race in Baku? Can't even remember where we last raced, to be completely honest. It's Baku? I think it was. It's sad that I can't remember. But anyways, we have an issue. Somebody made a bad reply on Twitter. And Twitter was Twitter. It's a war zone. You say one thing that's even slightly out of line, and everybody cancels you over it. So that employee was, as a result, I believe he was fired as a result because you don't use Twitter on my team. Anyways, upgrading some facilities back there. Now we're going to make some upgrades to the car if we possibly can. And, I mean, the ignition system is discounted. We could do that. Combustion chamber. But we can't actually make an upgrade because I forgot our capacity is full for the time being. Anyways, this is aerodynamics. Do we make that upgrade? No. What upgrade do we make here? Diffuser on sale over there, but we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with the 2 wing flaps. And that is that. Let's move on now through the week. We have to start building money up if we want to try to get George Russell on the... It's not Friday the 13th. Okay. Anyways, we need the R&D points. So Guan Yu's focus is going to have to take a hit here as we move on to right before the French Grand Prix. Ignore this 2 sextet. We just have to appreciate this gigantic dub. There was a text message behind that, so I put that up conveniently to block out the text message, which I believe said dinner is ready, which I forget what I had for dinner that night, but it was pretty good because I ate it, because I've eaten dinner these past couple of nights. And by that, I mean probably every night this year. Anyways, we're going to go on to the French Grand Prix now after making some upgrades, dealing with all that. And let's check out the weather here. First 2 practices are rain. I don't run those practices. I just quick practice them. There is the performance charts and rankings heading into this race. We are behind Alfa Romeo and in front of Williams. Yuki Tsunoda still beating us in our rivalry. We're going to try to get him back here today, obviously. But France, I believe, is one of those tracks where the AI tends to be super OP. It's going to be tough to try to win this race. But we're going to do not win, but win this battle, rather, over Yuki Tsunoda. As I am messing up a lot today. I'm going to try to fix things. Anyways, there's another mistake. You saw me run wide right there. That wasn't a commentary mistake. That was a driving mistake. As we head on to practice. This is FP3 now. And we are doing, I believe, yes, the race simulation program or whatever it is. As you can see, you can clearly tell because it is the only program that is 5 laps in length. As now we get ready to move on to, there it is, qualifying for the French Grand Prix. Look at all those different variations and routes and different circuits we could have. So many possibilities, and yet we still have a terrible circuit that just has only produced one good race in its history, which was the 2021 race between Verstappen and Hamilton. Coming up to the line here, where's it going to be? 8th fastest right now ahead of Latifi and Russell. Coming around to complete our lap. We are P19 as things stand. Ahead of Schumacher and Latifi. We want to try to get in front of Zhou Guanyu and maybe Kimi Räikkönen as we come up towards the line. It will be an improvement to where... Looks like the dash says P18 here in qualifying for the French Grand Prix. That could have been quite a bit better, if I were to be brutally honest here. Lewis Hamilton takes pole, and Nikita Mazepin, as you would also expect, is dead last because he has no skill and should not be on the F1 grid. Anyways, it's time to go to the French Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to France, host of the world-famous Tour de France. But we're not talking two wheels today, we're talking four, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly and Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, Ricciardo, Sebastian Vettel and Russell, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, The Real Deal, and Guan Yu Zhou, Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Mazepin, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
That music in the background never gets old now, does it? Anyways, here we are on the grid for the French Grand Prix. Apparently the birthplace of motor racing, which is pretty true with Le Mans and things like that. Big races, crown jewel in all of motorsport. As we go to the 5 red lights now to begin this race. And it's lights out and away we go for the French Grand Prix. Great start, getaway initially. The second phase of the start a little bit worse, but we're going to try to go down the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi. Apparently made a bit of contact with Mick Schumacher in the Haas. Not going to get by Gio on this occasion, however, as at the end of lap 1, we're still chasing after him. Do we get him? He defends to the inside. We go around the outside, and the move we tried to get done on lap 1, we'll have to wait till lap 2, but a neat move around the outside of turn 1, and then the inside of turn 2 gets us up into this 15th position. Is now side by side, Vettel and Russell in front of us. We're going to use this half a lane we get. It's a quarter of a lane. We're going to get by Sebastian Vettel here, but George Russell stays in front because, you know, Russell is an absolute legend. What a move that was, as Sebastian Vettel now down the inside as we run wide through that corner, heading down towards the final 2 corners of this circuit. We're going to be side by side racing each other for position. Vettel on the inside. Now I have the inside for the hairpin. And that's all Seb could do. He's going to have to stay back for the time being. But of course, DRS will be enabled this time by allowing Sebastian Vettel to have even more of a pace advantage down these straightaways. The front stretch and the back stretch are the 2 DRS zones here, in case you did not know. So we'll see how this works. But Vettel has a massive run right here. He's going to try the inside into this horrible section at the end of Sector 1 that I absolutely hate with all my heart. I mean, this is absolutely terrible. Vettel gets on by us. Now we will get the DRS, though, on him down this main straight. And as you're going to see, it's no contest with the help of DRS, ERS, and every aid we get. We move right on by Sebastian Vettel, and it looks like Antonio Giovinazzi is now in front of him entering that chicane. Anyways, close call here with Valtteri Bottas, who comes out of the pits right in front of us. Makes us slow up a little bit. Giovinazzi has a look as a result because of that dirty air that just took away all the front grip of the car. As now we continue on. Not sure what really went on there, why my wheels shook. I would assume it was contact from Giovinazzi, me being an idiot, cutting across. But anyways, he doesn't have damage, so I wouldn't assume that was it. We're holding up Gio. We're holding up Gasly right now. It's a big battle for position here. Gasly's on an alternative strategy, so we're just kind of trying to keep him behind. Even though technically we are now on the same strategy, because he's on a 2-stop, I'm on a 1-stop, so we'll see how this goes. As Pierre has the DRS, but he's way too far back down this back straightaway, entering the backstretch chicane, which is probably the most fun corner on this entire racetrack. These 2-3 corners, you know, to get right. As here comes Gasly entering this corner, this real fast corner. We're going to pinch him way down to the inside, be a little bit cheeky, rather. I won't use the word dirty, but I will use the word cheeky and suspicious, sort of, with that move. And we stay in front because, you know, we take advantage of the AI's weaknesses around these parts. As into the pits we come then for our one and only pit stop in this Grand Prix. It's going to drop us down the order quite a bit as we go on to the hard compound tires. Out of the pits we come now. And looks like we're going to get out in P19 here on the racetrack, but I don't believe Joe has pitted. Russell and Vettel have both pitted, I believe. As we are in front of Yuki Tsunoda right now. We all know how big this battle is. He tries to go around the outside. Can't really make it work here on lap 21. Way later on in this race. He's trying to fight back now on the inside. We're going to actually keep that position as we are now on board with Sebastian Vettel making a big move on George Russell around the outside. And oh, there's a car in the way. I'm sure you're able to guess who that car was. I showed the replay first because it was way more dramatic and stupid looking to see. I went around and Vettel went right into me. Unbelievable. We get a 5-second time penalty, as we rightfully should, honestly. I pulled up in front of him to maybe get the safety car deployed for this spin. But we're lucky we are not out of this Grand Prix right now, because that could have been a fatal blow to our race. As you just see. Did anybody see Seb right there? He just kind of flew into the screen, across the screen at full speed. Oh, that's kind of funny as we get ready to go back racing here in France. As we prepare to resume racing, no overtaking, says the FIA. Can't overtake till the timing line, the start-finish line. As we get sideways, we make contact with Giovinazzi. Are we going to get a 5-second time penalty again? No, we only get a warning. The green flag came out just before the game, was able to penalize us for that. If that was still a normal lap under safety car, that would be a 5-second time penalty for both of us. Instead, we both get away with it. And heading down to turn number 1, though, we completely missed the apex on these soft compound tires that we pitted for. And just here we are with 2 laps to go. Around the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi, trying to get this spot away from Italian Jesus. Are we going to pinch him down, or are we going to race fairly? I don't know. Fernando Alonso is also retired from the Grand Prix, as you can all see there in P20. We're chasing after Mick Schumacher now. As we get past him, we get past Russell down into here with a massive dive bomb down the inside. That was beautiful, if I do say so myself. Trying to get Latifi into the final corner. We're going to dive bomb him into the hairpin, a little bit too deep on the brakes. Here comes Latifi back at us. We're out of ERS deployment and up to the line. Latifi will get us, and it will be P15 here in France, in one of the most chaotic, if not the most chaotic race of the entire season. Absolutely amazing scenes. Lance Stroll, driver of the day. What a race.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Well, wasn't that just the oddest of races in some ways? The soft tires, I felt, did not work. I felt they were worse than both the mediums and the hards during that race. Yuki Tsunoda beats us overall in that race. Disappointment to end the day. In the end, Guan Yu Zhou, though. Zhou Guan Yu with points. He gets, a point, rather. Getting his first ever point in Formula 1. So it's not all bad here in France today, because Yuki Tsunoda, he might have beaten us. Guan Yu Zhou has a point this season for FireLynx Jaguar F1. As next time out is the Austrian Grand Prix. Another great place for us to score points, though, as a team. P10 right now in the driver's standings. Anyways, that's going to do it here today for this edition of the Formula 1 My Team Career Mode, Part 6, I believe it is. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated so I could earn money off of YouTube one day. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.